Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. And now to honor America, please join in the singing of our national anthem. Representing the three-time Stanley Cup champion New Jersey Devils, Arlette.
I feel like I'm at a game. Oh my gosh. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Happy Devils Sunday.
You got to tell your neighbor to lighten up.
Subdued Sunday.
Oh, I know.
It's so subdued now.
Yeah.
I know. It's very subdued. I'm no longer in the bunker studio of the Let's Go Devils podcast. Hello, everybody.
What's
My
going
name
on?
is Sam Wu. I'm here with Shorts Guy, Beer Baron. This is the Let's Go Devils podcast, season 2, episode 20. Powered by Nova Product Design and part of the Primetime Radio Network. I feel like I'm reading off a teleprompter right now, guys. I feel like politicians just reading off that, but really I'm just pretending. But anyway, how are you boys doing?
Doing good, man.
Well,
How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Pretty good. Big victory yesterday over the Philadelphia Flyers. But before we...
I'm sorry. Just
what's that?
Big victory over. It sounds like you're going to be reading a book on tape about meditation. It was a big victory. It was a big time victory over one of our hated rivals and that goofy mascot they have. And what's going on, everybody in the Facebook group?
Did you guys see what I posted to the group today about the little rivalry going on yesterday between NJ Devil and Gritty?
Yes. Yeah. They're going back and
I'll tell you
forth
what.
on Twitter, too.
I love when that stuff happens. I mean, it's like there's someone actually like working there on the fly to come up with that stuff. I mean, unless they had that all set up and ready to go, but some of it definitely looked like they kind of came with it on the fly, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, guys, we got to pay some bills here.
Pay away.
Yep, you can find us on Facebook Live, facebook.com/ Let's Go Devils podcast. You can find us Twitter, Periscope at Let's Go Devils Pod. You can find us on YouTube Live on our YouTube channel, Let's Go Devils. You can also find us on Twitch. We're figuring out ways to be relevant on Twitch Let's Go Devils podcast, and also streaming live on letsgodevils.com. All right, don't let me interrupt. You guys keep going.
Just going to say, what's up, Gary? What's up, Rob? What's up, Cheryl? What's up, Michael? What's up, Doug? Douglas are, always got to hate on Severson there. What's up, Terrence? What's up, Joseph? What's up, Jerry or Gary? What's up, everybody?
What's going on? I'm
actually
everybody was saying. I'm bringing the feed up now just to see who's all there. Hey, wow, we got a bunch of people there already. Hello, everyone that Beer Baron just mentioned, because I don't want to have to say all those names again. Beer Baron, how are you? It's been a while.
Good, man. How you been? And what's up, Eric, who just
man.
popped in and he said, who cares about mascots? Let's talk about being sellers. What's up, Jersey Joe? What's up, Bridget? Man, everybody chiming in. What's going on, everybody? Yeah,
that's all.
Yeah, we're not
great. Hey, it's the bobblehead.
The bobblehead.
Yeah, we're not.
We're not pretty good the other day.
We're not buying or selling bobbleheads at all. Actually, we're giving them away.
That's right.
Or giving one away. Giving one away.
At least one.
Yeah.
We will have a lucky winner by the end of the podcast, I believe. Right, Sam?
Oh, yes. Yes, we did the random drawing about 5 minutes prior to the show, so we're just verifying right now who the lucky winner is. If you decide to, enter now, you can enter now, but hey, it's already been picked. But enter away anyway. Yeah. For future things we're going to give out. We're going to talk a lot about New Jersey Devils fandom because, to be honest, guys, I wasn't too thrilled to see all those bobbleheads on eBay and people buying them off outside the arena and this and that. I mean, it was kind of sad, but
like immediately, they were up immediately.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Anyway, a $24 average too, which is it's a weird take on it. I have to say, Sam and I had a conversation about this before, where we said if you're leaving a game and like you and your spouse both got a bobblehead, your spouse isn't into it, or whoever your significant other isn't into it, or maybe doesn't even want it, that's one thing. Then you could sell it, right? Or you like give it away to somebody. But Sam was saying that his biggest beef was with walking out of the arena and then there's people standing outside like, hey, I'll buy your bobblehead. Then they turn around and flip it for like, 24, 30. I saw one going for like $35. I'm like, it's a little, it's a ripoff.
It is. And I know we're going to talk a little bit more about this later too, when we do give the bobblehead away, but hey, we're just trying to do our part to get the bobblehead in the hands of someone who wants one, who may not have been able to be there, and who does not want to get scalped online. So I guess we'll talk a little bit more about that later. We have a big thing to talk about. The Devils beat the Flyers. I don't care where we are in the standings and where they are in the standings. We still beat the Flyers. That's one of those games you just definitely have to win.
Yeah, and also we got hopefully a preview of the goaltending matchup for the next 10 years. You had Carter Hart, who everybody's been gushing over, and then you have Mackenzie Blackwood, who is slowly coming into his own. And I have a lot of questions for you, being our resident goalie aficionado. There's a lot of talk about his size and positioning. And there's also been a lot about a talk about the possibility of, because he's so big, that he's going to be more prone to injury because of his style of play. And I wanted to kind of get your feed on both of those, his size and positioning, or his style of play, and whether that's going to lead to him being more injury prone. Well,
I'm hoping that the Devils team staff will manage all of those injury, possibilities. It's not. I hate seeing a goalie go down with a groin injury at any point, which he already has. So my hope is they're not going to rush him into anything going forward for the rest of the season, because let's face it, the season, it's not over yet. I get that, and I'm usually trying to be very, very positive. However, it's not like we're super close where we need to run someone into the ground in order to try to make it into the playoffs, which we've seen that happen before, and it's gotten us to that. Now, as far as his style of play, I want to watch him a little bit more closely the next time he plays, because Unfortunately, I missed his first game back yesterday because I was behind the bench myself, and I could not touch any of yesterday's game. So I'm going to have to delay my response to that. I do like the little bit I've seen of him. You know, a lot of these small little uncanny coincidences, with the MD39 and all that stuff, I think is fantastic. Getting everyone talking about it, but we got a little ahead of ourselves with Kincaid. I think we got to wait in McKenzie. On a personal note, he's doing very well for me for fantasy.
Yeah, right. Yeah, honestly, watching him play, he looks the part, and he's playing really solid hockey. And now it's kind of the question of, Amanda Stein made a report that Schneider was back in practice and everything was looking great, and he was coming back to form. But once again, that's in practice. So hopefully, what she's reporting on ends up being, what ends up happening overall in the long run. Schneider comes back to form. Mentally, he's back in the game, kind of gets himself back into shape, and the Devils are either in a position to, trade off him or Keith Kincaid. Now it's funny because somebody earlier in the group said, let's see, it was Eric said, are they going to be sellers, and what are they going to sell, and what can they get back? There's a lot of things that need to fall into place before that trade deadline, and I believe the trade deadline is around the end of February, right? Beginning of March. I'll have to double check.
Yeah, I had that the other day. I got to check it out. I'll look it up. You keep talking.
Eric says every Devil season has 3 goals: finish better than the Rangers, beat the Flyers, and win the Cup. That's true. February 20th. Thank you, Eric. So,
there we go.
So we have until February 20th, which is a long ways away, to kind of figure out what they have and what they can sell off. But if this goaltending situation ends up being where Blackwood, they kind of ride him out and everything starts working, relatively well, where he's winning games and he's playing pretty solid hockey, maybe if Schneider comes back, then you're left with that. Well, you don't want to have, an extra goalie, a third goalie up in the press box, right? So go ahead, Sam. I hear you.
Yeah, I think Shorts guy's feed just dropped.
No, he's just frozen. He's just frozen from the immaculate from the overall talk. No, but honestly,
well, actually, Shorts guy's actually frozen. Like, he's cold right now, and he just can't break out of his funk. All right, so he's going to restart his feed. So let's just go to us, Beer Baron.
So Michael Viola said, he thinks Kincaid is gone if that happens. So, but here's the question: is like his trade value has kind of gone down over the last couple months, right? Because of the way that he's played, just the way that the team is overall played. You can blame him for some of that. You can kind of give him a pass on some of that as well. But overall, you're going to be getting back, if you're lucky, and it depends on how desperate the team is or how dumb the GM is. You get back like maybe a third or a fourth. A third is really high, I feel like, getting back for Kincaid. You hate to see him go because he's a great guy and, from all accounts, seems like a great teammate. But I mean, if they can get something back, they can get something back. And then if Blackwood ends up being the real deal, you see what Schneider's doing, see if he can kind of work his way back into like maybe even a backup role. And I know people will scream from the rooftops, like, you can't pay a backup 6.5. We get it. But you can't also put out somebody on the ice that's going to lose every single game for you because he's not mentally in the game.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's something we're going to talk with Nick Villano in the next few minutes because he actually put out an article about, the value of 5 trades. I think he had Brian Boyle, Marcus Johansson, Keith Kincaid, Ben Lovejoy, and I forgot who the other guy was, but we're just waiting for Shorts guy to reconnect. And by the way, let me just tell you something to our listeners and fans and everybody that watch and listens to this podcast. The amount of technical challenges we go through, let me just tell you something. Comcast and Service Electric suck. Their internet service is terrible. I called for Comcast service this week, and the salesman, and you guys can comment in the chat room, but I have to get this off my chest. They wasted my whole half day saying that, oh, I could get gig service over here, only to have the technician tell me, no, you're not going to get it for the next 3 to 5 years. They just sell you a bill of goods. And then Shorts Guy and the Service Electric, they charge them an extra, $20, $15-$20 more for faster service? Well, you're checking out Service Electric's faster service. I think we got Shorts Guy on, but I'm not sure. He looks frozen again. I don't know if, let's see. Shorts Guy, if you could hear us, let us know. If not.
I see his head's moving.
Nah. Is his head moving?
His eyes
are moving. His eyes are moving, but I don't think he could hear us, can he? Huh.
I don't know.
Well,
either way, you know what? That's funny. I guess we'll never have a sponsor from either of those two companies, but that's all right. That's fine.
Oh, no. I never said that, okay? Money changes everything if Comcast and Service Electric sponsors the Let's Go Devils podcast. So it keeps on. Well, that's.
Well, I mean, you know what?
That's part
about being live, and you know what? That's part of the game. But you know, while we're waiting, let's. I say we dive back into it a little bit, and then hopefully we'll get him back on soon. You know, it's funny because you look at this team right now, and we were talking about it. I think a little bit last week, where we were saying like all the different possibilities of what they can do, and especially coming up on the trade deadline. And when Nick comes on, we'll talk about it a little bit more. But the reality is the amount of points that they're out in the playoff race. It seems like this league in a whole is in a tank race, because if you look at, I was reading something the other day that the bottom half of the league has never been, or hasn't been, this bad in a very long time. And it seems like even though you can't outright tank for somebody, like you can't outright do it because of the draft lottery, there's so many people that are trying to find a way to be in that bottom, at least bottom three. And, you know, with the draft classes coming out that we've talked about extensively, with just the prospects that are coming out, you know, it seems like it's not, I don't know, like it's not the worst thing in the world for this team to finish in a bad position. And if they do, you know, you have generational talent in Jack Hughes, Capo Caco. Seems like he's going to be the real deal, and there's going to be a lot of change with this team. I don't think the team that you see now is not going to be the team that you see next summer. The transition, there was like zero transition between last year and this year, and everybody was screaming about that. But I feel like this year there's going to be a significant change. I feel like there's a lot of at least free agents, and there's a lot of free agents that are you know, slack for Jack. That's a good one. There's a lot of free agents that are very enticing, like the bread man. Panarin is out there. He's looking to hit the free market. There's a lot of talk that he'll end up, you know, across the river, unfortunately, but you have to look at it as a whole picture, you know, like the people that the Devils could potentially get, and how much cap room are they going to suck up with the contracts that they want to get. And also, you know, what the Devils are able to work out with Nico Hischier and Taylor Hall. I just had to go on a tangent. You guys just left me. I felt very lonely. I blacked out. I don't know what I said.
You were the lone man.
Well, that's because I had to dial in Nick Volano of Pucks and Pitchforks, which he's on the Bobby's Auto Care hotline right now. But Nick,
what's up,
how
Nick?
you doing?
I feel like I deserve a corner office at this point. Do I get like a couch?
Yeah, a comfortable chair and a microphone.
Okay, I'll take it. I'll take what I can get.
So, Nick, you know, last week we were talking a little bit about the potential of some trades and, you know, what the Devils could do. But something I wanted to ask you about before we jump into anything else is, What were your thoughts about the Carter Hart, Mackenzie Blackwood first matchup? And do you foresee this being something that is hopefully going to be a continued matchup for over the next couple of years?
See, I think it's going to be something huge, actually. I think this is actually going to replace the Nolan versus Nico rivalry. That's mostly because Nolan Patrick just hasn't shown up as a hockey player, and I'm not seeing anything from him that shows him he's going to be a superstar one day. He might be a very good second-line center at some point, but that's not what rivalries are built off of. They're built off of the star player. So while Nico's looking like a budding star, just turning 20 years old, and he could get like 60-ish points this year, and he's well on his way to having a really good season. Nolan, not so much. Now, moving on, you could kind of take all of what you thought was going to come from the Nolan versus Nico rivalry and put a lot of it into the Carter Hart versus Mackenzie Blackwood rivalry, except slightly different. They both came into the draft as similar prospects. They're both highly regarded, thought they were going to go pretty high, and they were highly regarded prospects, but going through the minors, they had very different they went a different path. Carter Hart was always the guy of the future and always the guy that the Flyers are looking at as, this is the guy that's going to turn our franchise around. And as we know, Mackenzie Blackwood last year was, well, what are we going to do with this guy? Because he's not very good. Now, obviously, all that's changed. So it kind of gives them both a different mindset going into these matchups. Like, this is the brother that was promised, and I'm the guy that was promised nothing, but I'd take everything that I got. So it kind of gives off a blue-collar vibe that I know a lot of the Devils fans have, and I think that that's something that they can get behind, a guy that was down on his luck and, was given up on, basically, and now he's taking the starting job from the grips of Corey Schneider and Keith Kincaid, and then you got this Carter Hart guy that isn't very Philadelphia, like, he's just a different breed of that person. So we can kind of hold that against the Flyers, and I think that's something that's going to hold water for a while, as long as these guys play as well as they have over the past 3 or 4 weeks.
Nick, it's Shorts Guy. If I'm not mistaken, wasn't Carter Hart the 7th goaltender the Flyers have used this season?
I'm trying to remember if Mike McKenna or he was the 7th. I think they've used 7 total, but I think they used Mike McKenna after him because they took him off waivers. He's either 6th or 7th. They've used a lot.
Yeah, they certainly have. So I was reading your article about the possibility of us being at the trade deadline, and we spoke earlier this week, Sam and I, with Bill Clement about the possibility of who we could trade, and the top guy on his list was the top guy on your list, and that was Brian Boyle. I would absolutely hate to see that guy go because as a young team, we need that leadership, but he seems to be rated at least one of the top guys on your list as far as the trade possibility at the deadline.
Yeah, I think I think saying that, I think he might be, of the unrestricted free agents, I think he might be the least likely to go because I think he's the one that Ray Sherrill would probably like to keep the most. But that being said, I also think that he's the one that's going to get the best value back. He doesn't have an injury history. He just beat cancer, so that was the only reason why he missed any games last season, except for a week here or there. He's the kind of guy, he's got 11 goals this season, which means he's on pace to score 20, which we saw, what 20 goal scorers were getting last year on the market. Plus, he's one of the best locker room guys in the league. Not just in the Devils, in the league. He's everybody's favorite teammate. He's a big body who can push people around, and he gets in people's faces without taking penalties. He can play a penalty kill and the power play, and he plays well on 5-on-5. So that's the kind of guy that's going to get you probably what we gave up for Marcus Johansson back.
Wow.
So I think that he's the guy that could bring a big return for us.
He seems to be that. He seems to be that guy that you could use to plug that missing piece for the possibility of a championship run there.
I mean, teams overpaid at the deadline. We overpaid at the deadline. The Devils overpaid at the deadline last year. We gave up a decent defensive prospect and a second-round pick for a guy who scored, 2 goals for the rest of the season? Yeah. And a guy who had, when you look at Michael Grabner's numbers, he had similar seasons to what Boyle had, where he had, 1 or 2 outlier seasons where he scored 23 to 25 goals, but he's usually an 11-goal guy who could kill penalties, which is exactly what Brian Boyle is.
Yeah, I mean, last year when they brought in Maroon, that was somebody that I was really, really hoping that they would bring back. But unfortunately, unfortunately for us, but fortunately for himself, he wanted to go back and, be closer to his son. Now, somebody brought this up in the chat room about the Devils. Possibly there's, I'm sorry, I'm trying to go back. Doug Armstrong. It was Joseph in our chat in our group was saying that Doug Armstrong said that there's been some chatter about the Devils making a run at an RFA, I guess, in the offseason. Now, what RFA would they be trying to make a run at if you had to take a stab at that question?
Nobody you want. I'm telling you this right now, it's nobody you want, because to get the guys that you want, it's going to cost, count them. Now, say it with me, 4. Count them, 4 first-round picks.
Yikes.
4. If you want to get the guys like, Mitch Marner or, the guy in Colorado that's just escaped my, but this is a very good year for restricted free agents, but it's just not possible because of what you have to give up. I mean, you wouldn't trade 4 first-round picks for anyone who's not named Connor McDavid.
Yeah, right.
That's just not what there's just no way that a team is going to do that. So maybe they go after a guy. I mean, even a guy who makes, I believe it's $7 million a year is going to cost a first, second, and third.
That's crazy. See, that's
doing that.
Yeah, and the last time that happened where there was anybody that was given an offer sheet was, I believe, in 2007, maybe? I can't remember it, but I was reading it. It doesn't happen often, is basically what I'm trying to say.
The last one I remember was Shea Weber. The last one that accepted and went was Dustin Brown. So, I mean, sure. Wait, is it Dustin Brown or Dustin Penner? I can't remember which one it is, but it's one of the... Somebody went from the Ducks to the Kings, so maybe it was Dustin. And it was so long ago, and I got them mixed up, so that's my fault. But it was in probably 2007. It was around that time, and it was not a player who, I think it was Dustin Penner, because I don't think it worked out for the Kings.
Yeah.
So either way,
it's
been a while.
It's been a long time, and I don't think if the Devils do it, it's going to be for a guy who's, a Brian Gibbons type, who may be a little bit younger and has a little bit more upside, but his upside is third line, can score some. Maybe it's just a guy to fill the roster. Now, honestly, I just don't think we need any of them. I think we have plenty of them on the roster already, and Miles Wood, Blake Coleman, Stephen Nason. So I just don't see him doing that. I've heard the chatter as well, and I've tried to make it work. If you notice, I haven't written one word about it because it just doesn't. The numbers don't add up.
Mm-hmm. So it's going to be just kind of like whatever they can get. Come this trade deadline, do you expect the Devils to try to shift people out or trade things away and expect just draft picks in return, where they're going to start to fill the cupboards, so to speak, in that way, or are they going to actually try to get bodies in return?
I think they're going to try to get AHL bodies who are on the cusp of making the NHL. I think they're going to try to get people who are in their early 20s, early 20s, 21, 22, who are trying to make the league next year. I think they're going to try to get at least 1 or 2 of those bodies, and then the rest draft picks. So maybe you trade a Marcus Johansson away, and instead of shooting for a first, you shoot for very highly regarded prospect in a third, or a middle of the pack prospect who has upside, maybe like a John Quenville type, and then a second. Instead of shooting for that first round pick that a lot of people have said that Johansson can get. So I think that's kind of where Shero's going to go. He's going to use that high talent of Johansson to get a guy who's not going to need another 2 years to get there. And I think a team that he might target is Tampa, because Tampa has a couple really good young defensemen who are already in the league, and then they have a couple guys coming up that they have nowhere to put. And they got all these guys like McDonough and Hedman who they're paying all of the money, and they can't get rid of those contracts they probably could get rid of Hedman, but they don't want to. But a lot of these other contracts, they're going to lose Stralman this year. But that's, they got all these other young defensemen that they're just somehow keep developing. So I think that's a team that the Devils might call and be like, hey, you want Johansson for the stretch run? You put one, he could be one of the most talented third line left wings in the league, and give us back a guy that you have no room for.
Mm-hmm. No, that's a good point.
The only thing about Johansson though is he's been so injury prone that in my mind there's a possibility of no team wanting to even take the chance, because let's say you trade away a decent prospect and a pick at the end of February, and then come third week of April the guy's hurt again. For me, it just doesn't seem like it would work out that anyone would want him just because of that history there.
I think people are going to throw out the concussion. All right. I don't think they're going to throw out the concussion, but the fact that he's gotten through the season without a concussion kind of shows that he's developed his game in a different way. So I think that helps. Obviously, he was out for like the past 3 weeks with a kind of unknown injury, but I think Shero could kind of sell that as we were playing so well, didn't want to mess with the chemistry, and we wanted him to get 100% before we put him back on the ice because we were playing well. So I think he could sell it as he could have been back after a week or two. We decided to keep him out longer just to give him time to rest. Kind of like his very own bye week kind of thing. So, because it was just weird, and I think they're doing the same with Taylor Hall. They're kind of playing him with baby gloves. And if it was the playoffs, do you guys think Taylor Hall would be playing right now if it was the playoffs? Because I do.
100%.
Oh, absolutely. I'm wondering if they're holding back Taylor Hall to avoid him going to the All-Star game. I think they want to sign Taylor Hall this offseason. So if Taylor Hall wants to go to the All-Star game, he's going to go to the All-Star game. I don't think that they're going to play those games. The Devils aren't. Ray Shero's not the kind of guy that's ever done that. He kind of let Sidney Crosby decide whether he wanted to go to the All-Star game or not. He did the same thing with Malkin when he was in Pittsburgh, and last year Hall was kind of hurt going to the All-Star game. Again, he probably could have played, but he probably knew that Brian Boyle was going to be able to go, and it was in Tampa, and it kind of that was a really cool moment for him. And Taylor Hall going kind of didn't really mean a whole lot because he's been to these before. So if Taylor Hall wants to go and kind of wants to be, loved and adored for being the reigning MVP, then he'll go. But if he doesn't want to go, he wants to let his boy Kyle Palmieri go, then he's not going to go. I think it's completely and utterly up to Taylor Hall.
And Palmieri deserves to go.
Absolutely, he does. All right, Nick. Unfortunately, our time with you is up, so we want to thank you again for coming on. Everyone should check you out, Pucks and Pitchforks, and thank you again for your insight on the state of the Devils. We appreciate it.
Hey, I appreciate it, guys. Remember to follow me at Pitchfork Pucks on Twitter and follow the Facebook page, Pucks and Pitchforks. We're going to be sharing a couple cool articles in the next couple of weeks, so, make sure you follow us.
Heck yeah.
Awesome, Nick. Thank you. Yeah, but everyone please follow Nick, and Nick, we're doing the same, so thank you again.
So I
All
have
right.
to address this really quick
This is
before
Nick.
we go into the next
you got?
thing. Somebody in the Facebook group said, "What do you think of trading Butcher, considering Smith coming in a similar type of player? You do not trade. Do not trade Will Butcher. You could listen. You could always use a puck moving defenseman the way that Butcher is. Ty Smith, I don't care if they're identical players. You don't move him around. This is my opinion.
No. My opinion is if you're going to trade anyone, if there's anyone that has the ability to be traded and it's in one of the older guys, those are the first that I think should go. With the exception of, obviously Taylor Hall. And I really do think that letting Boyle go would be a huge mistake for the Devils. You cannot.
He's an unrestricted free agent, so even if they traded him, that's not to say that he couldn't come back next season.
But if that's the case, then I think in the background, you have to have that deal essentially in place prior to him being traded. It's got to be because he's just vital to this team, vital to any young team. I think Sam is sending us messages about the bobblehead. Sam, what do you got?
Well, too bad we ran out of time with Nick. I mean, I wanted to talk about the 80s theme night last Thursday. It was pretty cool.
In attendance.
Yeah, it was actually pretty cool. I was in attendance, but I got to tell you, though, it's been bothering me. It was pretty cool in a lot of sense, and they played some pretty good music. But it just seemed like whoever put this thing together was a millennial that never grew up in the 80s, that watched it on YouTube. I think you said that to me, Shorts Guy, right?
Yeah, we had this conversation shortly after you went. I wasn't there. A couple of the things that I saw, and like hearing the crowd sing along on TV, I thought that was fantastic. The Devils just don't seem to have it together when they wear the red and green jerseys. They tend to play like the 80s. Yeah, I know. I'm still going to get one at some point. But
Dude, it's so legit. It's such a beautiful jersey.
I know. I was looking at it at the last game I was at. I'm getting one. It's just I have to get it.
But this is what they did right. This is what they did right.
Yeah, that is pretty wild.
Yeah.
Doing the whole Ken Daneyko
Sam, you want
to thing. That looks nice.
It's got a pack on the back too. Sam, do you want to explain why we're giving that away to the fans? To a lucky fan, I should say.
Yeah, we were going over this in the beginning of the podcast, and seriously, I just can't believe. I can't believe that there are actual people that make a business out of this, standing outside just buying, just buying these bobbleheads that they're giveaways, or people. Literally, once they grab them, they bring their entire family of like 10, and then they're just taking their phones, just like this, taking a picture, and it's like on eBay within a minute. It's just something. Look, I'm a capitalist pig. I'm all for people making money, but just something doesn't sit right with me in that. And I'd like to thank one of our listeners. He commented, and I got it in my phone, and I actually met him at the game on Saturday, and he actually came up to me and actually shook my hand twice, saying, "Hey, you're Woo? Oh, you're Sam Woo. By the way, thank you for doing that, man. I got 2 bobbleheads myself," and he's disgusted as well. I forgot his name. It's Don Kleinbeck. He wrote 30 years won't. He says, I got 2 bobbleheads that last evening. Awesome that you guys are calling these guys out. There's scamming, reselling, and to their own fellow Devils fans. And it's just, it's one thing if, like what you said, Beer Baron, your wife didn't like it, you sell one, okay, whatever. I don't care about that. It's just when there's like a guy carrying 25 of them, it's like, come on. Yeah. That's a little overboard.
Oh, yeah.
And that's my opinion, of course. Well, we should ask the people on Facebook Live, like, what do you think? I mean, what do you think about this, this bobblehead, what's happening with these bobbleheads and other giveaways? And, it's just disgusting.
I'm looking at all the listings now. It's like there's, there are a ton of them are starting at like $25 or $30 or best offer, like, 30, $24.50, $29.99. There's a couple that are south of 10, but not many. Like you said, Sam, if your wife doesn't want it and you have an extra one and you want to put it on eBay for someone to buy, if people bid it up, then that's their thing to bid on eBay. But to have these starting at, $25 or $30, it's like, I'm not a fan of it.
I know we gotta go ahead, Beer Baron.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I'm kind of like split on it because I totally agree with you. Like, basically turning around and selling it is kind of like a D-bag thing to do. But at the same time, like, if you're a fan of the opposing team and you go to the arena and they give you a bobblehead, sometimes, and I've been in this position where, like, going up the escalator and you're standing behind like somebody in a Maple Leafs jersey and you're like, well, you're not a fan of the team. Can I have your giveaway? And it's like 50-50. Sometimes they're like, yeah, sure, I'll give it to you. And then like I end up turning around and giving it to like a friend who can go or whatever. Or, like, I don't know if I should admit this or not, but like during the banner giveaways and stuff like that, do the old, like, go up one side of the escalator and you go all the way around, you come back down, you go all the way back through, and you get another one, you go all the way up and you go all the way around, and you come back through, and you just, I've done it a few times for Niedermeyer night, but that was because I needed to get one for people that weren't there, like my brother who lives across the country and stuff like that. So, I mean, I don't know.
That's different.
I see that as different because if you were doing that and then posting them on eBay, that's totally different. But like, just like you described before, for Eliash night, there was, I got one from an opposing fan because he didn't want it, and I gave it to my brother who wasn't at the game. So it's like, if you're getting extras for family, for people who can't be there that are big fans, you're just going to give, that's fine. But if you're trying to collect all these extras just so you can fleece other people, that's completely different.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really in the spirit of being a hardcore Devils fan. I mean, that's why we titled the podcast New Jersey Devils Fandom. I mean, selling, reselling it and making a profit. Yeah, I mean, you were basically, long-term leasing and getting more for people that couldn't actually get to the game that are hardcore fans. That's different.
No, I get it.
Not saying it's stealing or anything, but, it's long-term leasing. You got to do what you got to do. That's different.
Yeah,
it's all about fandom.
You got to make a living, man. No, yeah. I mean, I get it. Like, I personally hate the people that go out and like grab one and then they fleece other people for it. It's like a complete ripoff. And I mean, then you look at it, there's fans from other teams. I've also seen this where like fans from other teams like take them outside, then smash them on the ground and stuff like that, which like annoys me to no end. But I don't know. I think if you don't want it, you should just say like no thanks. And if you're gonna be a scumbag and like try to sell it on the internet, like I don't know, it's just.
Do you know what I feel like doing? I mean,
people everywhere.
Do you know what I feel like doing? I feel like making some fake eBay accounts and buy all of them, and they're all excited. Like, yeah, some guy bought mine for $34.95, and then they find, fake account. The only thing I could do is leave them a bad review or 1 star or F minus bad buyer. You beware. Remember that those comments on eBay. But seriously, it's just and we're going to talk about it this week on Short Shifts, ticket scalpers. Where do you guys get your tickets on the secondary market? How do you get your tickets aside from season tickets or buying on Ticketmaster? And the other thing we're going to talk about is let me see here. Sorry, I forgot. Just had a brain fart. We're going to talk about autograph signings. I mean, there was a big Nico Hischier autograph signing. There was long lines. I get it. There's money involved, but like. It was full.
Yeah,
we'll definitely talk about that. Yeah, exactly. And and obviously, if it works, it works. But it's just again, that's another thing that we're going to talk about on Quick Shifts later in the week. And Quick Shifts are I would say, our bridge from our Sunday podcast throughout the week. So check out our Facebook page, check out our podcast page, check out our Twitter page. We're gonna have more podcasts. Short shifts, 8 minutes long. You know, it was kind of like not the elongated podcast that we normally do Sunday. It's just like condensed down for your morning drive and afternoon drive. I like it, Shorts guy. I mean, we had Bill Clement on this week.
I know, that was pretty wild. That's pretty wild. One of the guys that I coach with is a Flyer fan, and we had practice, shortly afterwards. Practice or a game, I can't remember. And I was like, "Oh yeah, I just talked to Bill Clement." And he looked at me, he's like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's a pretty cool guy." He's like, "Wow, that's pretty." I'm like, "Yeah, it was pretty wild to be able to do." And man, Bill Clement was a fantastic guest too.
Oh
we could have talked to him for very long. we could have gone very long.
Yeah, too bad it wasn't like. Go ahead.
I was gonna say we got to get him on the big show.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I tried to visit him during the game yesterday, but he was, it was impossible to get up to the TV booth. That's a long story. That's another story for another day. But yeah, I mean, it was cool to get his perspective. He was funny. He thought your name was Short Sky. As in SKY. He explained that you could check out that podcast on our Facebook page or on our podcast page. That was pretty cool. But he had a lot of great insight what he thought the Devils would be selling before trade deadline. But hey, I think everybody's just really waiting for us to figure out who's got this giveaway. This guy.
We should give it away. We should give that thing away. It's like, I think it's time to give it away.
Well, we selected 5 minutes prior to the show, 1 p.m. today. That was it. I mean, we had a lot of submissions on the Facebook, and it was basically a Facebook thing. I know Gilmore93 Woo in the YouTube live chat room is like, how can I be a lucky fan? And I said, he says going rate is about $25 on eBay. But hey, sorry, Gilmore, you missed the deadline and it wasn't a YouTube live thing. Although we may do it on YouTube one of these days. But yeah, we should give this away. I wish we could maybe we should do a drum roll or something like that. Here, let me just cue up some fun music here, for the winner. Hold on. Give me 1 sec here. Who wants to announce the winner?
You can.
Why don't you do it, Sam? Why don't you do the honors?
Oh, now I got to look at my notes. Jeez. All right. Well, who's going to do the drum roll?
Do we have one queued up, Sam? I feel like this is something.
No.
Now it sounds like National Lampoons.
Exactly. No. Oh, that's Caddyshack. Never mind.
Yeah.
The winner is Joseph Gerald.
Joseph Gerald won the bobblehead. And Gary in the group, to answer your question, no, you don't have to be watching right now to win. We're going to contact Joseph if he's not watching. We want to thank everyone that submitted into the drawing. We really appreciate it. This was our way of trying to give back to you guys and to try to, to try to basically get around all those scalpers, which we're going to talk about later in the week. And there is the bobblehead.
Well, I mean, that's part of our podcast. Like we're trying to figure out ways to just like really, really, really make the Devils fan experience better. I mean, we do these live podcasts at bars. We bring players in.
Douglas
I mean,
Walker.
we don't charge fixed what, Douglas? What, you want one? You should have entered. You didn't enter.
Hey, by the way, Jake, where were you the other week, man? We had fans calling in, man. We missed you.
Yeah, I know. I mean, we opened up the phone line for fans, and Jake didn't even show up. I mean, come on, Jake. Get with the program. LOL, Doug, as Tim.
Yeah, there he goes. Joseph said, "Woohoo!"
You know,
Awesome.
If people do wait on eBay, eventually these things will go down in price. Because if everyone in mass does not buy them, they have to go down in price if people want to unload them. That's the other thing about supply and demand too.
Yeah. Or
hey,
we can make
Joseph
knockoffs.
Gerald is watching. Joseph
Of
Gerald
course
is
he
watching. All right, welcome, Joe. Welcome, and good luck.
And congratulations.
Congratulations. That's the word I'm looking for. It's been too long.
Welcome.
We should play the Price is Right music just one more time for Joseph.
Do it.
If I can cue it. There we go.
Hey.
Price is wrong.
I'll be like Diane.
All right, Joseph, we will be in touch to get that to you. Before we close out, which we're going to close soon, let's talk about our upcoming games this week and also look for another one of our fun in-game games, I guess you want to call it. This week we have Chicago tomorrow, home. Yep. Columbus away Tuesday. Long Island away, which is kind of like home because it's not that far. And Anaheim at home on Saturday. Decent run of 4 games coming up this week. All of these games will also have a guess the beer contest. Not really a contest, but just like the first goal guess. You get to guess how many beers it's going to take you to watch the game. So look out for one of them. Chime in on that. And what are your thoughts on this coming week there, Beer Baron?
A few things. Number one, you have 2 teams in Chicago and Anaheim that are kind of reeling, so it's going to be an interesting week. But then you have the Islanders who have been pretty red hot as of late. So
they just beat Tampa.
I don't know.
Too.
Yeah, and pretty convincingly too.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
4-1. I think. Oh, no, it was 4-1 after 2. I didn't see the end of it though.
It's going to be one of those interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what happens when Adam Henry comes home. That's always going to be fun. And then with Chicago, same thing. Who knows? I mean, like, it depends on what Devils team you get. Are you going to get the team that looks, decently competitive in front of Mackenzie Blackwood, or are you going to get a team that is completely, complacent and just doesn't play their system of play? So let's see how they do.
With 4 games and what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 4 games in 6 days. You're probably going to see at least both goalies once. It's a matter of who they're going to give the. I would hope with Blackwood coming off of an injury, they don't give him back-to-backs Monday, Tuesday. However, you never know with the coaching staff. I can see at least seeing each goalie in those 2 games. Maybe give Blackwood the start in Columbus, let Kincaid play tomorrow. And then New York and Anaheim, you could ride one goalie for both those games. That's not out of the question. I guess that's that's up to the coaching staff and how Blackwood feels. And at some point, I know Snyder's been playing, practicing again. Do you maybe try to sneak him in there with that, or do you wait till after, because we have the entire week off, leading into the All-Star game? Do you send him down? Do you send Corey Snyder down to the AHL for next week? Once he's maybe deemed fit to play.
It's funny. He would have to, if they sent him down. I don't know how it works if he's coming off of IR, if he has to clear waivers. How funny would it be if
we talked about that with Nick a couple weeks ago? Essentially because of his contract, who's going to pick him up off of waivers?
You never know. You never know.
That's true.
I mean, I'm saying I doubt anybody would pick him up off of waivers, but crazier things have happened. And there might be a team that's like desperate, that's like, whoa, this is our opportunity to try to steal a goaltender, and it might be a blessing in disguise.
Actually, depending on what's going on, because it seems to be something really weird going on in Columbus with Bobrovsky.
Oh yeah.
As far as what was it it was Friday, he had a 1-game suspension for they basically said he violated some kind of team policy, but they didn't go beyond that. They didn't elaborate. They didn't do anything, but it seems like it's not all, happy and friendly in Columbus there. So, I mean, I don't know if they're looking to make a move, a splash that soon, but I don't know off the top of my head.
Oh, he's going to be
goalie.
Yeah, he's going to be UFA, or he is a UFA this year. So Bobrovsky is going to be on the market next year. So who knows what Columbus is doing? I mean, it's John Tortorella in the room, so it could have been something as simple as Bob didn't agree with, didn't agree with him or didn't wear the right tie or something like that. There's a lot of people like Eric in our group tonight who's been adding a lot of great content with saying, age, price, and injury, nobody will want him or nobody will claim him. Maybe that's true. Yeah. Maybe he gets claimed. Who knows? Never know. Crazier things have happened.
That's true. Sam, what are we doing this week? We going to go out this week or what?
Oh, we're going to go out this week. I mean,
where are we going?
There are 2 viewing parties. January 17th. You got the Devils fan club at Mother's Ale House, which we got to hit. We got to hit that. I mean,
yeah, totally.
Trudy's great. We got to visit them. And there's also the New Jersey Devils sponsored viewing party at Calandra's.
Yep.
That place is going to be packed. Somehow we're going to have to get in there. I mean, unfortunately, there are fans that are just monopolizing spaces, the limited spaces there. But somehow, Shorts Guy, you and I are going to have to get in there. We don't know how, but we're going to get in there. We're going to get in there. We'll figure it out.
We might even have stickers that night. Podcast stickers.
Podcast stickers? Are you serious?
We might.
Wow.
It's a new surprise. New podcast. Yeah, it's a new podcast item and surprise coming to our listeners.
Yeah, so we're not going to be the podcast that's going to be selling, giveaways. We're just going to give things away, like stickers, some of the giveaways that even we get to support your Devils fandom. We're not going to charge to get a player's autograph. I mean, come on. We're doing our best here. Sorry, I'm on a rant. But we're going to save it for the Short Shifts podcast. We want to thank our viewers and listeners and for chiming in as usual every Sunday nights on the Let's Go Devils podcast. Congratulations to Joseph Gerald for winning this bobblehead, for participating, and we want to thank all the participants as well, bringing more of the Devils fans to the podcast. We really appreciate it. We're going to have more giveaways. And any last words, guys?
Other than it's a big week this week, I just hope the Devils are able to. I'll take 500 out of this week. That's for sure. After that last road trip.
2-2.
All right.
You're saying 2-2 at the end of this week?
I'm saying 2-2. Yeah.
Much love from Seattle. Hey, good people out in Seattle. There's a lot of people
across the nation.
All right. Well, check out our Short Shift podcast midweek. And until next time, let's go Devils.